Am I the asshole for telling a family to fly private? I was recently flying from NYC to LAX for a work trip and I had the displeasure of sitting next to a family and a little boy, 9. I got on the plane in the midst of issues with my diabetes and I needed to eat within 2 hours, so I began snacking. I immediately began receiving dirty looks from the parents and the mother said, "Can you not do that? Our son." So I put my food away and figured I'd wait until the flight attendant came around so I could buy food from her and eat at an acceptable time just to show some respect for their wishes. So the flight attendant comes by with her beverages and snacks. I start to ask for a Coke and a snack box. But before I can finish the sentence the father says, "Nothing for this row, we're all set here," and she continues on. I go up to press the call light so I can get my food and my drink because I actually need it, and the father says, "Our son has Prader-Willi. We'd prefer it if you didn't eat because it causes tantrums when he doesn't know he can't eat and he's always hungry." I'm close to a tantrum myself at this point, and so I look him in the eye and say, "I do not care. Fly private if you want to control your surroundings." The flight attendant comes back and I get my food and my drink. I snarf it down and chug my soda, and I sit back. As soon as I'm calmed and I'm able to open my laptop and get back to work, the mother leans in and says, "I feel a calling to educate you about my son's disease," and I felt my entire body clench up. She keeps talking to me and explaining how I'd made her son feel, and I said, "Listen lady, I don't fucking care. I'm going to handle my T1D the way I see fit and you're going to handle your son the way you see fit. I'm not endangering myself because you don't want to deal with a tantrum. If you want to control other people, then you book all the seats in a row or you fucking fly private." I recounted the story to a friend of mine once I'd gotten off the plane, and she immediately told me that I was a huge asshole and I should have given them a little bit of grace due to their son's condition. I kind of feel bad, but at the same time, I think that it's unavoidable if you're going into public and you're around others. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Even if you didn't have diabetes. People don't get to come into public space and dictate anyone else's acceptable behavior. Not the asshole. Do they expect people to stop eating as they walk past a restaurant? Picnics to stop in the park? They can't continually control his surroundings. Plus the problem isn't people eating near him, it's him not understanding what's going on. The parents need to explain to him what's going on, not explain medical things to strangers. If they want to completely control their surroundings, then yeah, they can fly private or maybe a nighttime flight so they can sleep instead. Not the asshole. Are you supposed to slip into a coma to accommodate their medical issue? Not the asshole. You are 100% correct. If they wanted to control their surrounds, they should have booked the whole row and or flown privately. To expect you to not eat, regardless of your health, was ridiculous. It was rude for the dad to speak on your behalf. Absolutely not the asshole. Those parents were lucky, they could have gotten me. Not the asshole. I feel for the family because I'm sure it's a very difficult condition to manage and causes a great deal of stress. But their solution to try and manage it is not a great one. You cannot control when other people, especially strangers, decide to eat, one reason being that many people, yourself included, have their own medical conditions to manage and will have needs that are incompatible with theirs. Instead of putting the onus on others to avoid triggering a tantrum, they need to focus on strategies to help their son manage his emotions when he is feeling frustrated about being unable to eat. Am I the asshole for leaving in the middle of celebration because of the toast my husband gave? IF 25 married my husband M 31 3 years ago. I'm currently pregnant with our first baby together. We found out it's a girl and my in-laws wanted to invite us for dinner for gender reveal announcement and celebration. We got there, saw many relatives coming to congrat us and celebrate. It was bigger than expected, which made me nervous because I'm not a fan of being around many people. We sat at dinner table and I barely ate. I was feeling so much anxiety and was sort of upset my husband didn't warn me about how many people were coming, but I tried to stay calm and collected. Anyways, after the announcement and in the middle of the celebration, my husband wanted to give a toast. He opened a bottle and poured a drink and wished that our daughter be healthy, happy, but looked nothing like me. Everyone at the table laughed. I sat there staring in shock while he kept laughing with them. I felt so much rage and my anxiety got out of hand. NGL. I got up, took my purse and made my way out. His mom followed me asking if I was okay. I told her I just wanted TK go home. He came to the door asking what was wrong. That's when we started arguing. He said this was a joke toast, and that my reaction was over the top, but the thing is, ever since I got pregnant he kept hinting he doesn't want our daughter to look like me. He even once got up in the morning and first thing he told me was how much he wished our daughter looked nothing like me. It hurt me while I'm already dealing with low self-esteem and anxiety. I wanted to go home but he said I was being a baby and that I should learn to take a fucking joke. I said he made everyone laugh at me by he defensively said it didn't warrant me to walk out of dinner and be so disrespectful to the relative who came to celebrate and share our joy. I went home and he called many times telling me to get my insecurities in check before Jay passed them up to our daughter. He urged me to get therapy and stop acting so dramatically like how I did in front of his family. I think leaving dinner wasn't THF best solution but I just got overwhelmed. Leaving is the best solution? Yes. And not just the dinner. He has said more than once he doesn't want his child to look like you. Then he made you the butt of a joke in public. Then he dismissed your perfectly normal feelings. Then he blamed you instead of apologizing. Pay attention. He had shown you exactly who he is and what he really thinks of you. Believe him. Edit. Not the asshole. And wow. Thanks for all the awards and upvotes. This really does sound abusive. Not the asshole. Your husband needs to knock off the jokes and grow up. And I think you should get some therapy to learn to value yourself. Especially with a girl, you need to show empowerment so she learns empowerment. Don't let her grow up with a father that belittles her mother. That leads to lifelong issues. Not the asshole. Emotional abuse is not a joke. It is time to remind him that if he doesn't like the way you look, he doesn't have to see you every morning. Tell him directly that his words about his appearance are unloving and they have taken their natural toll. Good on you for standing up for yourself. Good on you for make it clear to everyone present just what an asshole he is. First red flag was a 28-year-old marrying a 22-year-old, op. If you were dating at least a few years, this douche got with you because he was way too immature to date girls his age. He's an emotionally abusive asshole. Not the asshole. I would leave someone who treated me this much like garbage. What kind of fucking joke is it to shit on his pregnant wife's appearance in front of his entire family and have everyone there laughing at her? It's not a joke. It's bullying. Not the asshole. I would like to hear your husband explain how that joke is funny. Not the asshole. I've insulted your looks on multiple occasions. Haha, that's funny. Leave the whole boy because he is not a man. A man is an adult and no adult would ever belittle their partner and then try to play it as a joke. Am I the asshole for telling my dad that I still hold a grudge for something that happened 10 years ago? My 26F mom passed away at childbirth, so it was pretty much my father, 50M, and me, with the occasional visits from my grandparents, from both sides. Since I lived with just him, I took on a more masculine style and likings, like one of the boys, but the only boy was my father. I was Rexy, for T-Rex, because I was obsessed with them for years. I had no Barbies, he bought me a few but I was like, ew. And I had almost zero dresses or skirts. He also did my hair really awful every time. When I was around 12, he began dating this woman called Maria who had a daughter, 15 at that time, named Stacy. While Maria was a total sweetheart, Stacy was horrible. She bullied me for not looking like a girl should do, for liking man stuff, like cars, bikes and stuff like that. I have to admit that I also didn't had many friends while growing up, neither female or males, so my person was my dad, and as I grew up I got involved with what he liked. To make things short, Stacy would often throw awful comments about me being a boy, a weirdo, etc. and my dad would do these same comments in a less bully way, but they hurt me more because he was confirming that while Stacy was his daughter, I was his son. What broke my heart was that he called Stacy Peach, like Mario's princess, while I was T-Rex. I did a 180 degrees in my looks at 15. I brought dresses, skirts and dyed part of my hair a sweet pink which made Stacy laugh at me even more and my dad was like, "WOA. Pink? That's for girls." In my 16th birthday, Stacy put black dye in my shampoo and ruined my whole look. I guess it was the stick that broke the camel's back because I cried so horrible to the point of not breathing and I told my dad in front of Maria and Stacy what she had been done all of those years, along with my dad awful remarks and subtly enabling Stacy's awful comments. In the end, he left Maria and Stacy because it was obvious there was no going back for me after that. He eventually married my now step-mom when I turned 20. My dad apologized. We talked about it and a year after that we attended therapy until I was 24. I don't like to talk about it. I think it broke my relationship with my dad in a way we will never be able to fix. I know he doesn't have my back. Yesterday, while talking he tried to joke about it and I said that I didn't want to remember it because I'll never forgive him for joining Stacy in her bullying. He said it couldn't be possible that I'm still holding a grudge. I say I am. And that I always will because he absolutely broke my heart and confidence. He tried to argue. But my stepmom said that he needed to let go because my feelings are my feelings. I still cry when I remember it, but he says I'm an asshole because he left them and made amends with me. Not the asshole. I like your new stepmom. She's absolutely right that your dad needs to accept that he did permanent damage to the relationship. Pushing you to let it go is just throwing salt on your wounds. Not the asshole. Your stepmother is a very wise woman. I know it's old-fashioned and sexist, but a father's first duty is to protect his little girl. Not the asshole. Everyone heals at different rates. You might get past this one day where remembering won't trigger you pain anymore, but today's not that day. And that's absolutely okay. You decide when you are ready to let the pain go, not your dad. Yes, he's made amends and married a woman who seems to really have you back this time, but still your pain is yours to keep and release when you are ready. You can have a great future with your dad and stepmom and never want to visit that incident in your past again. That's your choice to make and your dad needs to accept that. Sounds like your stepmom gets it, so if it's too hard to have this conversation with your dad you can ask her to explain it to him. Not the asshole. It is good that your dad did try to make amends, but those who aren't on the receiving end of this treatment cannot understand how a person can continue to hang on to resentments born of it. My mother beat me with a switch often while screaming at the top of her lungs. One time she even made my legs bleed and still kept going. Years later, I confronted her about this, and she acted like I was in the wrong for bringing it up and said I was just trying to be mean to her. Cue the tears. It still angers me, because unlike your dad, my mom never apologized or expressed any kind of remorse. She just made excuses and justifications and would try to bring up whatever it was I punished for. In truth, she was just mad that she couldn't bully me into silence anymore. Not the asshole. My stepfather showed up for one of my therapy sessions once. When the psychologist opened with, "Now, your daughter," he interrupted with a little, laugh and immediately proclaimed, "Oh, no, she's not my daughter." I will never forget that. I'm 45, and this happened when I was, 11 or so. The man mentally abused me all my life, but I clung to him being my daddy until then. F you, Bob. I hope you enjoy the family you did choose, and they'd better support your ass in your old age. 'Cause remember, I'm not your daughter. Not the asshole. Broken trust is a very hard thing to repair. As for holding a grudge, hold that grudge, since what that really means is you are aware of and on guard against the behavior that hurt you the first time around. People use holding a grudge as an attempt to invalidate someone's experiences and unwillingness to allow it to happen again. Am I the asshole for emasculating a guy by winning against him in a game? My husband and I have been playing squash for the last few months once or twice every week. Recently, my friend, Rebecca, and her boyfriend, Joe, joined us too, and yesterday was their second time playing. I played 2 games against Joe and won both of them, because I have been playing for much longer than he has. I saw that he was starting to get a bit angry after the first game, so I told him he is doing really good considering it's only his second time, but didn't let him win the second game either. When he played with Rebecca after that, he acted really rude and belittling towards her because she wasn't as good. When we got home, I asked them if they wanted to join us on our evening dog walk and they said yes, but Joe seemed to be in a really bad mood. We walked for about 1.5 hours, which is a usual evening walk for us. During the walk, Joe was rude towards Rebecca, getting mad at her because she didn't know where we were, etc. Next day, Rebecca was all mad at me, saying that she had to deal with Joe's bad mood because I not just won against him twice, but then I also challenged him on a walk. She said that I shouldn't have emasculated him, because he took it out on her. I told her that Joe is an asshole and she should break up with him if he treats her badly. Rebecca says that I had to know that Joe will react like this and I was deliberately trying to emasculate him because I don't like him. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Men don't get emasculated by a game and a dog walk. He just isn't one. Not the asshole, and challenging him to a walk is hilarious. Not the asshole. Joe is toxic AF. It was a dog walk, not a double dog dare. And getting mad because he was beat by a girl and then taking it out on his GF? What a prize. Be kind to your friend as much as you can. Sounds like she is in an abusive relationship and she will really need a friend when she finally figures that out. Not the asshole. Don't play if you aren't emotionally mature enough to handle losing. Don't associate with women if your fragile excuse for masculinity can't handle them being good at things they do regularly. Not the asshole. Joe needs to get a grip of his fragile masculinity, and Rebecca needs to stop blaming you for dating a person like this. Joe is a walking red flag. How long have he and Rebecca been together? Effing yikes. I don't know what your relationship is with Rebecca, but if you want to say something to her about how this is not okay, I'd just ask her if she's ready for Joe to mistreat her every time he's upset. Every time he has a bad day at work. Every time he gets into traffic, for the rest of the relationship. You're just trying to play a game and have fun. If something that benign sets him off so hard he mistreats his girl, why is she his girl? Not the asshole.